Like talk the whole process. Like, was this like got a hookup connect? You did like this marketing sales thing with them, or like how that whole thing worked?
The stuff for me is different. Stuff just fall in my lap, to be honest. But I'm gonna tell you, but the way it happened. I'd already wrote the program, created it, put it all together, and then the next thing I did was go to 253. Started 253. They had it was a drink night or something like that. It was just drinks that night. They had free drinks that night. And that first night, that was my very first time.
That's one thing about being a startup here in the Seattle area. Like, if you're struggling, this here a startup founder because there's like every night there's an event with free pizza and beer somewhere.
Yes, you can eat.
Yeah,
You can eat.
might be only meal of the day, but you gonna get some food and some beer.
You're gonna survive.
Yeah,
And get a connection.
yeah, exactly.
But and that's literally what happened. The very first time I end up meeting the nonprofit owner, Super Ladle, Miss Rachel, beautiful woman, blessed us and told us about Metro Parks. She was teaching a cooking class for Metro Parks. And so she told us about it and gave us an email. So I reached out, and about a week later, I finally had a meeting with them, presented, and get this, they had looked at our website and everything. And before we even got into the meeting, they had already decided that they wanted to work with us. And so I ended up getting my first year contract with them. And since then, we got a contract with YMCA, the Boys and Girls Club, and it's growing.
So what exactly is Metro Parks, right?
Metro Parks, they they first, if you live out here in anywhere Seattle, the surrounding areas, every park is owned by Metro Parks.
Okay,
A lot of these community buildings
okay, that's what I
owned by
thought.
Metro Parks.
Okay,
They are basically
so they run like a base, like a kind of like a boys and girls club, sort of, kind of.
they do, but it's not their source. There's what they're known for, but it's not the main thing. They almost act like uh they're an entity that is in between a civilian company and a government company
Okay,
because the government gives them money and they distribute it.
so it's like so you're kind of like a subcontractor then.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, yeah, pretty much.
okay,
That's pretty much at the very core of it. They're subcontractors for the government,
okay.
and because they're nonprofit.
You signed a 1 year contract with them.
Yeah, sign 1 year, and then we just signed another one
Okay,
for
all
another
right. So
year.
it's probably a long term relationship.
Yes, yes, a long term relationship, and we just last 2 weeks ago was where we signed the contract for YMCA and Boys and Girls Club.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah.
So what's the saying? Like more money, more problems. So like how you dealing with all this, right? Because I don't think you hired enough more people, right? And you're still bootstrapping, right? How do you solve like it's like a problem to have, right?
Mm-hmm.
More customers, but like
Mm-hmm.
you have limited resources.
Mm-hmm.
You only have limited number of hours in a day, and like you're still like you're still Taylor Swift hang out
Mm-hmm.
sometimes. You have
Mm-hmm.
family, friends, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like I joke around like if you're an entrepreneur, you don't have a person serving, right? You don't have a person like you just have to like wash your clothes,
Mm-hmm.
get the oil change, right? Grocery shop, So how you dealing with all this?
Well, I did have a maid when I first got to Houston. I was staying in Airbnb. When I first got to Seattle, I was staying in Airbnbs for like a year, and so I had a maid for a whole year. It was really cool. But I it is stressful. It is stressful. Um, for me, whenever I need some more money, I just make another world. I just make another world for a company, and that's how I've been paying for it. My partners, they were betting on me not being able to do this by thinking I wasn't going to be able to afford the headsets. And so I just made a world for a company over in New York and a couple other companies, and that financed everything. And so so far that's what it's been. Whenever I need more money, I just do some more work.
So how do you do your sales process? Because a lot of founders like they don't want to do sales, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like, and then they fail because they don't do sales, right?
yeah.
Like, how do you do? What's your secret to doing sales? Just pick up the phone, just go in person. Like, what's your process?
Well, the phone first, the phone and email first. A lot of times I'll send an email, and then call you maybe even 10, 15 minutes after the email, knowing that you've seen the name and now you're about to connect the name with a voice. And then eventually you're going to connect the voice with the face. And so I'm trying to take them through through this step process of sticking in their head.
And you sales it, you only do it Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. You like 24/7, Saturday, Sunday. If I got a minute, if it's Sunday at 10 in the morning, I got some free time. I'm calling the sugar up because you might answer.
Well, for me, I'm a little bit different in the way I do things. I actually, uh, going out and calling people, that was like my least favorite thing. Even though I'm a natural salesman,
Yeah.
that's my least favorite thing. So I put that in between the time frame of 8 to 5.
Okay.
You know, it's my creativity, the creating things. That's the stuff I can't stop. I cannot stop. I'm up all night creating and animating and developing.
Okay.
But the sales, that's something that if I'm not doing an email or on the phone, I'm doing natural when I talk to you. And that's when I'm at my best. When I'm,
Okay. So how do you deal with this? Like, suppose you call someone up and they're like, AR, VR, that's some fucking bullshit. I'm not doing that fucking black magic crap. You like, you say, okay, do you say thank you for your time? Or you like try like, well, actually, sir, have you thought about this and this? Do you like try to educate them? You're like, okay, this is obviously a waste of my time. Let me move on.
Well, yeah. And when a person says that tells me, because that doesn't tell me no, I don't want it. That tells me that you haven't given me enough information.
Mhm.
And so my first response is, I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
Okay. That's my first
Okay.
response. I'm glad that you said that. That's going to lead me. So I'm not even going to come with a negative. I'm not going to say but because that's a negative connotation. I'm going to say, I'm glad. I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to agree with you, and I'm going to lead that agreement back into here's. I don't. You said you don't want that. You don't like that fucking AR VR. I'm glad you said that. And you know what? Many people say they don't like AR and VR until they first experience it. It could definitely cause business issues and whatnot. And we already have issues with social media having our phone to our face.
So you're doing the Eminem thing.
Yeah.
Remember Eminem about that
Yes.
dude in
I'm gonna tell
Hey,
all
wow.
the bad stuff.
Yeah, I'm telling bad shit about me. And I know shit about you too.
Yes. By the time I finish talking about all the bad stuff that they were already thinking, they think I'm on their side.
Yeah.
You know, they forget I'm the salesman. Now I'm a brother. Now I'm, you know, and so once I flip it into, okay, here's these valid reasons as to why your reasoning is correct. Now I'm going to tell you, I'm going to add more information in to get you to question it. And I'm going to tell you where the benefit is and I'm going to have you weigh it. And then once I put all the information out, I'm going to get quiet.
Yeah.
Definitely quiet. I'm not going to say anything. The first person to speak is the one who wins.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Let's get another drink. Man, you're doing some great things. So talk about, so we first met when you entered my pitch competition back in July. My conversation pitch competition.
Yes.
Talk about your experience with that.
Oh, that was awesome. That was awesome. I
got to brag on myself a little bit. That's a lot. That was a good time.
It was a really good time. Really great pitch that you put on. The first pitch, my very first pitch was a Jason Cabinets HR pitch. And it was nerve-wracking. It was beautiful. And it's also what led up to BlackMuse's business pitch competition for middle school kids in elementary.
You say you copied
literally
me?
what? Yes. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I was like, this is great. This is great. This should be done more.
Yeah.
Yes. No, you definitely inspired that. And I really feel like without that part of it, it would have been damn near impossible to get the YMCA and the Boys and Girls contract. And so
I did a podcast that I sent clips to everyone, so I'm sure you use that and stuff.
Yes.
You met Karina that night. Now you're in Karina's program.
Yes. A lot of stuff spawned just from that.
Yeah.
That's why I'm a big believer in going out and challenge yourself. I didn't know
you have to put yourself out. You have to put yourself out there.
Yes, there was some heavy competitors at that competition. Look, we have our website and whatever. We put on a good pitch. We didn't have a whole bunch of stuff to show. There was one other company that had a whole app with a board game, with it AR components to it. If you look at your phone and point it at the board, it was beautiful. Well done. Very well done. I mean, and the other companies, these were companies that were just top level. And so one wouldn't think, oh, okay, we're coming in and BlackMuse is coming in and we're going to win. Didn't think that. We wanted experience and we wanted to meet people. And And that's what we did. Now and then we won.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, what?
And I have to tell the story, right? So Karina, announced the winners, right? And she was like, BlackMuse, winner. And David clapped and sat the fuck the back down. We're like, what the fuck you doing? Get your ass up here, right? You're like, oh, someone won. Someone named David with my same name won.
I really thought that. I really thought that. Like, who's that? Who just won?
I'm like, what the fuck?
Why aren't they getting up?
Yeah, it was fucking craziness, right? Like, dude, get the fuck up here.
Yeah, yeah, that was funny.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah, and then people you met, like, Byron, you met Brian Robinson, the East Olympian, like, he's a big banker, right? Then you met Aubrey, who you did some stuff with this stuff. I know y'all still have to connect, I think, with Barbara. I need to make sure I connect. I have a meeting with her next week, so I'll follow up on that with you. Yeah, it was a good time though, right?
Yeah, it was a really good time. Really good time. You brought together some heavy hitters.
Yeah,
you really did.
I do pretty good at putting on events.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Yeah, I do pretty good at that.
Yeah, hey, if you do events that good, I want to see how your parties look.
Yeah, those are pretty good too. Yeah. So that was your first time pitching BlackMuse?
Yes, that was my first time pitching BlackMuse. Okay. That was my first time pitching.
And so, how did you prepare for your pitch?
Oh, man, 10 years as a preacher.
Yeah. Okay. So right. Yeah.
I knew what I wanted to. I knew what I wanted to say, but it's always for me. It's always at the top of my head.
Yeah.
It's not something. If I practice too much when it comes to that, I mess up.
Like me. So I'm an INFJ. There's like 1% of the world. Like
that's me too.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
No one I like you.
That makes sense.
And so I'm an introvert. Like I hate small talk, but I love getting in front of people talking. Right.
Yeah.
What's funny is like, for example, I said some podcasts before. Like when I do these podcasts, right? Like 10 minutes before, I like, man, hope David doesn't show up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like I get fucking anxiety attack. I don't always show up, right?
Yeah.
And then like when I just enjoy talking in front of people, right? For some reason, right?
Yeah.
Which is insane, right? But the thing is and then I cannot practice on anyone, right? Like I will not practice. Like I'll who it is, some random stranger, I cannot practice on anyone, right? I have to be in a room by myself, practice it, right? And when I pitch whatever talk, I rehearse, right, several times. But there's a point, what's it called, like point of no return, like if you practice too much, it actually degrades your performance, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm pretty good at that. But I rehearse and I talk in front of people. I swear to God, half the shit I don't fucking know what I'm saying, right? I just fucking start talking and like one time I did a pitch competition. So I pitched New Tech Northwest in December 13th, right? Like 2-minute pitch. What I was supposed to say the first 3 minutes, I said the last 7. So I switched the parts around, right? But no one knew, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Like 2 minutes. Oh, so I didn't say this, right? So I know that. Yeah.
It'd be like that. Yeah. It really do. It really do.
And man, I love how you said about what? Said about A123. I don't remember saying nothing about 123. Yeah.
For real. No, that's the exact same thing. I experienced that while when I was a preacher. I would write a whole sermon up, 3-point essay on point, got my strong points in places, beautiful and immaculate. And then once I get up there, it's like I ain't much looking at it. It is vaguely in my head, and yeah, I feel like the business pitch competition was like that too. You know.
So you plan on doing some more pitches?
Yes, as many as I can.
Okay,
as many as I can.
You need to pitch New Tech Northwest.
Yeah,
there's one in Seattle, one in Bellevue. I connected with Brett Green. Yeah,
okay.
They do it once a month, and you actually get 10 minutes to pitch.
Really?
Yeah, it's a 10-minute pitch. Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah. That's a lot of time.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Yeah. I've never pitched. I never pitched that long before.
I mean, you can do a demo or do what we want to do.
Yeah.
So I connected with him.
That'd be really cool.
And then, have you done Founders Live yet?
No.
That's a 99-second pitch.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit harder.
Your pitch is the only pitch competition I've ever done.
Okay.
The only pitch competition I've ever done. Yeah. But I did watch some before going to it. I did watch some of your old pitches before I did it.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I put myself out as much as I can.
Yeah. And I'm glad you did because it helped me. Because that's how I won.
So you had accepted a Washington Maritime Blue, I think it's called, right?
Yes.
And so Washington Maritime Blue, it's like it's a incubator for water startup, so to speak, right? So how did you convince them to let you join? You're obviously not a water startup.
Well, AR/VR is a hot topic, and so I'm already hitting a strong point with them. That's in the back of their head. They don't even know it. They just know they hear it on the news all the time. Every time they open up YouTube, it's everywhere. And so something connects to it. It's going to bing. This is the perfect time for it. We were able to go around that because they can clearly see the beneficial applications of AR, VR, and maritime. We actually had the benefits of talking to Maritime's. I forgot the position, but he's connected with the airport in Maritime. Well, and so we were talking with them about creating an AR platform that allows for translation of different languages into English by using your phone. When they point at a sign, it will visually translate it there in the augmented reality space. Even better, we had the Apple glasses to do it for. But having that in the airport and having AR invisible agents that are able to ask questions to, like you have the when you're in the airport, you have just random people who work there. You're gonna stop and ask them, "Hey, where do I find this?" or whatever. Um, but imagine if, you know, there's not an actual person there. You got your phone, you have this application open, and you need to ask a question. You don't have no one around that you can ask the question to, at least not in your language. And then you look around, you're looking in AR, and oh, right there in the corner, there is an agent that you can't see in reality, but on your phone, there's a person there. Go to that person, ask them your questions. It's going to respond in your language. Um, and having so you, of course you don't need the visual aspect, but having a visual aspect um is great, especially for the older people, because it it's immersive. They feel like it's real. You're speaking to a real person. Nobody wants to speak to a robot. Yeah.
So I'm going to presume you consider yourself a tech person, right?
Yes.
Talk about this, right? Like this generation has gone from Pong to AI.
Mhm.
Can you talk about the speed and advancement of a tech? What's it called? Like I kind of was called like 1+1 is 2, 2+2 is 4. The
Yeah.
advances are so fast, right? It's gonna get
Yeah.
faster and faster, right?
Yes.
Like I'm a firm believer, like if not my kids, my grandkids will be going to space. Like
Hmm.
I think there'll be space hotels on the atmosphere, right? That
Yes.
people travel to, right?
Yeah. I like where
Let's
you're
talk
going.
about how fast tech is advancing.
Very fast. That's Morgan's law.
That's the Morgan's law, yeah.
Yes, it's Morgan's
Morgan's
law.
law.
And we've broken Morgan's law.
I mean, you think about it. We went from when was the first airplane flight with Kitty Hawk? Like 1908,
Yeah,
1902.
yeah, very early,
We'll say
1901 or
we'll
some.
say 1901.
Yeah.
6 to 8 years later, we're in the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Less than that, we have probes in Pluto and
Yes.
James Hubble. I think it's James Hubble, right? No,
Yep.
James Webb. James
James
Webb.
Webb Telescope is out there.
Like
Interstellar travel,
finding millions of galaxies a day, right?
right? Black Knight satellite, all this, all this kind of stuff.
It's like, and the thing is, like, does our government or mind can we cope with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are we able to cope with that, right? Like, I think we can. Like the example, suppose like it's their 1400, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you bought them and like try back in time, but you give them an iPhone, right?
Mm-hmm.
It'll destroy civilization in
Yeah.
1400, right?
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
think we can. I don't think government's set up to keep up with this stuff, right?
Well, how many iPhones are you bringing back into the fast?
That's a good question.
You bringing one or several?
We'll say 10.
10?
Yeah.
Then that will likely quickly, first off, you will be held as king or killed. One or
Yeah.
the other,
Yeah.
depends on how you handle
Yeah. You're like you're Satan's spawn.
Yeah, you either Satan or God, one of them.
Yeah.
But likely something like that will be considered a magical tool, and it's gonna be delivered to some king somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't believe it will destroy civilization. I do believe, I do believe, I'm a big believer that this is not the first time that we've been that as a human, as an intelligent species that on Earth, that we're not. This is not the first time that we've had this level of technology.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Just in a different capacity.
Yeah. I mean,
But
like the pyramids, right? No one can
mhm.
figure out how to do the pyramids, right?
Yeah, no,
Obviously, someone built them.
it would be a way more intelligent society than ours
Yeah.
to desire to create the pyramids, because the pyramids was put on that's literally a monolith
Yeah.
to say, hey, this is what something is. Right now, if we stop building right now and just let everything degrade, we would have no evidence in over 1,000 years. We have no evidence of cell phones. We have no evidence of electricity. We have no evidence of, we look like with, because all our stuff will biodegrade, of course.
Yeah.
you know. But so nothing would be evidence would be here, no bio footprint to say, hey, we were even civilized.
I know, and I might make this up, but it wasn't. There was a thing where like the library, like Alexandria, had all the information back in the day,
Yeah, yeah.
and supposedly either it got destroyed by fire that the Romans did on purpose, something like that. You know, yeah,
I do believe it was on. I
yeah,
do believe it was on purpose.
yeah.
A lot, a
And
lot.
so much stuff was lost.
I studied a lot of ancient philosophers, Aristotle, Plato, and Aristotle, for one, he speaks of a civilization that existed before the moon came.
Mhm.
The moon has a lot of weird stuff going on,
Yeah,
anyway. But to that one of our greatest philosophers are speaking about
yeah,
about this civilization. Also, no, I'm sorry, Plato speaks of his daemon that he has a Daemon, that throughout his whole life he had a being that speaks to him and tells him to do this or don't do that.
yeah,
His entire life kept him out of prison when he almost went to jail. I mean, we almost got sentenced to death for not believing in you know
yeah,
the religion at that
yeah.
time.
Because atheist, right?
Yeah, yeah. Oh well, he didn't claim that openly.
Okay. Mostly not. I mean, most atheists now don't claim it openly, you know.
Yeah,
Especially like you want to be a politician or, you know,
Mhm.
football player or something in the public eye, right?
Yeah. I wouldn't consider myself an atheist. I would consider myself an ominous.
Okay. I've never heard that term before. What is that?
Whereas I believe in a mosaic religion, whereas if you're Muslim, you that you still heard from God. You're Buddhist, you still heard from God, but it may not be the full story. But if I look carefully, there's going to be little puzzle pieces I can fit together like in a mosaic way to
Yeah.
bring a bigger picture. I believe there's a difference between the God of this age and the God of all time.
Okay. So let's go down this rabbit hole then. It's like I consider myself a Roman Catholic, right?
Mhm.
I practice not as much as I should, right? But
Mhm.
my thing is this, right? Like you cannot tell me that because I'm born in Texas, I'm Roman Catholic, and you know, I was told about Jesus, I'm going to heaven. And some random dude in India is going to go to hell.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't, to me, I can't accept that, right?
Right. Right.
Like, so God's only for certain people, right?
Right. God is about clicks.
Yeah.
He got
It's like,
clicks.
and then how did God choose, like the Bible is the word of God or is it like the best fucking story ever told, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it like a story type, like passed on oral generation about Jewish people to like keep people in control, right?
Mhm.
What better way to keep people in control? Don't lie, don't do this, don't that.
Yes.
It sounds like, you know, rich people rules for poor people, right?
Yeah.
Oh, these poor people are fucking stealing my camels, right?
Mm.
Let's make this rule. Let's say God, and another thing, like,
Mhm.
why is that God like never like appears on TV?
Mhm.
Like, in our mind, hey, I'm God.
Yeah.
Do this. It's
Yeah.
always like some random shepherd, you know,
Yeah.
or some
Yes.
burning bush, right? Or like Moses, Aaron, you know, like, and it's always like the weirdest dude, right? Like
Yeah.
Ezekiel, some random dude in the desert, right? Or,
Yes.
you know, like I don't. So it's
I
there's a lot of doubts, right? Like,
I
and
like
then it's like, you know, like if you read the Bible, like I think Ishmael and Isaac were brothers, you know,
Yes.
and now a lot of people can trace like Israel and Palestine to that, you know, or
Yep.
Israel and the Arabs, you know.
Yep. The whole Muslim religion comes through Ishmael.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like so funny story. My son-in-law, his name's Ishmael, but he's the most devout Christian you ever met, right?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's kinda,
Nice.
it was kind of what threw me off, right? Like you're like damn, you're pro Christian, right?
Right? You sure?
Yeah, but it's like there's so many questions, right? And then like I know I'm hogging the conversation with you for a minute, but then like in the Bible it says, you know, God's the same old race. But Old Testament, God was killing motherfuckers, right?
No.
Like God killed more people than ever, right?
Yeah.
And then just like that, came a God of love. So is it the same? I guess he said, or actually he's the same because when your kids grow up, you treat them differently. That kind of makes sense, right?
Well, Jesus is, well, according to Christianity, our interpretation of Christianity right now, Jesus is supposed to be God. So for me, okay, make it clear. So uh I do believe in Jesus, Yeshua. But who he is to me is a little bit different. I believe that Christ came teaching something, teaching divinity of the divinity of humanity, that we were all divine. I think through deep teaching of the Hebraic language and studying in Aramaic, he's teaching that he is the Son of God and that you are also. There is one Messiah. There was the person that's prophesied that's supposed to come to, well, according to the prophecy, he's supposed to give information, and we decided to kill him, you know, whatever. But he came and he gave information, And what was the information? The revelation that you are God, that you are God. The Catholic Church, before the Catholic Church, I'm sorry, the Romans, specifically Titus, the governor at the time, was very much had big issues with the church. And there's evidence that we see from Josephus, who wrote the Jewish Roman Wars, shows that there is a lot of manipulation of the story of Jesus that was written down, which the Bible, our New Testament, was written until 95 years after Christ died. But we still have texts, Gnostic texts, like the Apocryphon of John, the Gospel of Thomas, that speaks of these things that Jesus teaches. And when you look at them, it looks oddly close to Buddhism. It looks oddly close to some Hindu spiritualist teachings. And get this, the Bible literally prophesies that he will send it said God said he will send his son out of Egypt. Egypt. All of the things that Jesus is teaching, I'm able to find in the Book of the Dead. I'm able to find in the Corpus Hermeticum, written by Thoth, thousands of years before our modern Old Testament was written. The Old Testament that we have currently was written in 200 A.D. Okay, 200 A.D. And that's, we don't even have the original book before the Old Testament was written. The Jewish people studied the Gomorrah and the Talmud. We don't even study that as Christian people.
And what gets me, like, like the Muslim religion, they recognize Abraham, Jesus, the prophet, right? But it's Muhammad, right? And like Muslim and Christianity has so much in common, right? But for some reason, it's like, no, you're I don't know. That's
power.
right.
It's power. It's power. The archbishops and the popes needed to keep control over kings before King James. The only reason we even get Protestant religion is because King James wanted to divorce his wife, Bloody Mary. That was his wife. And the Catholic Church wouldn't allow that, but she was a bitch. He was like, I don't want to kill her though. We got to do something. So he was like, you know what? We're going to change the religion for everyone. So when I look at the history of the church, I see manipulation of a lot of rich people, kings and queens, manipulating spirituality, like you said, the better fit society and culture. Because when I look at Jesus by himself, this dude tore down religion. He tore down government. He was an anarchist.
He was.
Literally.
I just wish there was a record of him, because they don't talk about that until I think it's 33. Like, what did he do from birth to 33? Of course, they'll talk about like he fled, heard, whatever, try to kill him, whatever, and the little story. But like, what did he do from like age of 4 to 32? Right?
Yeah, he studied in the mystery schools of Egypt.
How do you know that?
Well, because first off, the Bible tells us that's where he called him from. Like, before he came and started his ministry at 30, he came out of Egypt riding on a donkey. That's what it was prophesied. And that's actually what happened when he came into the city.
So how you know that's true?
How do I know it's true? Well, because of everything he teaches. Thank you. Because what he teaches, either he got it, either it was like downloaded to him, right? And he didn't need to travel Asia Minor to get this information, or he went there himself. Because the stuff he teaches are the same information that was taught by Thoth Trismegistus. To be born again is the specific big teaching where Jesus preached to the rich Jew. Nowadays we interpret that particular sermon to mean being born again. Like, I got to quote Romans 8, and now I'm saved, I'm born again. Well, that didn't make no sense. Why is he using female vaginas and all this stuff to talk about being born again? I'm telling you here. First of all, the Bible speaks about the matrix. In Ezekiel, the book of Job is equivalent.
Are you having preacher man flashbacks right now?
My bad. I'm not trying to.
It's all good. It's all good. It's a little joke.
But in the book of Job, it speaks of the female vagina. It calls it a matrix. It's the only time it says the word matrix in the Bible, but it calls the vagina a matrix. Then we get to Jesus in that garden, and he tells us that a man must be born again. And then he asks, well, how does a man be born again? Shall he come through the womb again? And he said, it will come by water. Basically, to make a long story short, Jesus is explaining. He's explaining soul technology travel. That there's literally technologically impossible, physically impossible to travel solar systems or dimensions or whatever, vast distances, physically. But that you can, souls are able to be born into certain dimensions. Jesus was telling us that any being that's born in this reality will come through a womb, a vagina. It's a portal. It's a portal. Any being that is born that is intelligent, that's born in this reality, will come through that portal. It's in the African religions called a yoni. It was also considered a portal in the African religion. You know, so the vagina is pretty important. But that's what Jesus was talking about. He was talking about vaginas.
Nice.
Don't quote me on.
Yeah, we're just talking. So, isn't there stories of like before Jesus was born? Like, isn't there like prehistoric stories before Jesus, like virgin births and stuff like that?
Yes. Yes. So there
I
are.
know some people say like, like, so I have like this cross. It's the Catholic cross right here.
Nice. Nice.
And the story with that is like, Constantine was fighting a civil war. He was outnumbered.
Mm-hmm. Original cross.
Everyone thought, everyone thought he was going to lose. And then supposedly Jesus came to this guy with this sign and said, with this sign conquer. So he conquered, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he was like, always like devout pagan, right? And he
Mhm.
switched to Christianity
Mhm.
and made Roman Christianity, right?
Mhm.
So they become Roman, right? But of course they combine, like,
Mm-hmm.
like Christmas Day was actually the sun god holiday.
Winter solstice.
Yeah, so come out of that stuff. So like, did he really like, was he really Christian?
Mm-hmm.
Did he really see Jesus like the opportunity? Like, was a political expedient thing to do, right?
Oh, you've been studying. Not too many people ask that question.
Yeah.
I don't believe he converted. I personally don't believe he converted.
But I know a lot of Christians, especially Roman Catholics, like they're like, we think he converted, but if he didn't, we're a successful religion because of him.
Yes, definitely.
Like, it wasn't because of him, like Christianity would have died out.
Yes, it would.
Like,
it was already on the ground.
Of course, it was funny, right? It's not funny, but like the historical context, like they interviewed all the men, right? Did this really happen? Like they're gonna fucking say no.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
They're like, well, there are 20,000 men. Not one said it was a lie. Really?
Yeah.
Come on now. That's like instant death. That instant death for yourself, your whole family, all your animals, your friends.
Yep. But
it's a great story, right?
It is a great story.
I see Jesus. I'm gonna conquer you. He conquers. Everyone's religious. Everyone Christianity, and then years later, of being people on earth are Christians.
It was the smartest thing. It was a super smart political move.
That's some shit fucking John F. K., LBJ, Donald Trump, Ronald Reagan, Bill Clinton we're fucking proud of.
Yes. Because he definitely was somebody that was smart enough to take a Roman rebel. Yep. Okay, so let me give context. Before Christ came, there were 3 people that claimed to be Messiah, according to Josephus.
I forgot about that. There was the previous claimed messiahs. Yeah, I forgot about that.
And they all died. All of them. There was big ass wars, the Jewish-Roman wars. Millions of people died as it was recorded. Literally millions of people. It happened 3 times in over 300 years. And so by the time Jesus shows up, everybody's like, nah, we don't learn our lesson. We ain't fucking with the Romans no more. You trying to fuck it up for the rest of us. They didn't want to receive that. But Constantine had an ingenious thought. First of all, Christianity had, for the most part, had gone underground, but the soldiers, half of the soldiers were Christians and the other half were Mithrans, and it was very similar to Christianity in the first place. And so, he was losing all of his soldiers. Like, he was losing all his soldiers, and it was already confusion because it's a republic. So the general has more power over the immediate army than the governor does. And so, that being the case, Constantine had that wonderful idea. He saw the thing in the sky. He saw it in the sky. Told them to put on their shields, and then lo and behold, he said, "Okay, now I'm Christian, right?" But he says that, but he doesn't think, you know what? I need to take down all the gods. Or this is gigantic archway.
Let's do a slow phase.
Yeah.
So do a slow transition.
Yeah, really slow, really slow.
Or I have my new god. You keep on watching your old gods.
Right. You know what? We're just gonna give them new names, and they're gonna look the same.
It's still a party December 25th.
Yeah. Come on.
Still exchange gifts,
Literally. Quite literally, there. Why do we have imagery of Mother Mary and baby Jesus? There's no emphasis on baby Jesus. The reason why we have that is because that's imagery that connects to Isis and Horus.
Yeah.
You know, and we know from Roman history, they just like the Catholics do to this day. The Romans were known for take borrowing from other religions and adding to their
And that's
own.
smart, right?
It's very smart.
More better way to assimilate people you conquered and take a little bit of their
Yeah.
culture, right?
And their gods still exist.
Yep.
Their gods, it just maybe a different name, but
Your God still exists, but the tithe for your God has increased.
yeah. Yeah, the tithes increased.
Tithe has increased.
Yeah, that's real. That's
You're
real.
10% you got, 10% to us, motherfucker.
Give all, give it all. You gotta pay taxes, your Roman taxes, and your Roman tithes.
So here's one for you, right? So in the Bible, there's several times where, and this is my theory, right?
Mhm.
This is way out there. So like in the Bible, like several times God will go somewhere, hey,
Mhm.
like I want you to know I'm killing all you motherfuckers, right?
Mhm.
I know it said like don't kill us all. We have to some,
Mhm.
like what the Lot's wife,
Mhm.
Salem's Lot, whatever. They saved some people.
Yes.
All the time, like God was going to wipe the whole earth out of this, right?
Mhm.
And the prophet of the time, they know there has to be at least one person to save, right?
Mhm.
All through generations, that's happened, right?
Yeah.
So my theory is right. And this is like way out there, right?
Mhm.
That there's no one there said save us now, right?
Mhm.
Like we're doing all this fucking bad shit, right? And
Mhm.
then like there's no one to say, hey God, don't kill everyone, right?
Yeah.
And like God is like, okay, fuck the humans, right? He's like off somewhere else,
Uh-huh.
partying, doing this, and we're just on our own, like destroying
Mhm.
ourselves.
Yeah.
What's your
Yeah.
take on that?
Well, I would say,
I know that's a wild ass theory.
yeah, I would say it's very interesting. I like how you pose that because, like, it's very genocidal. But I do believe that, like with the flood, um, it had a lot to do, uh, from what I studied, it had a lot to do with genetics. When I read you find more about the flood through the book of Enoch. It also speaks about it in Genesis chapter 12. Um, but it literally says that God chose Noah because he was pure of generations,
Mhm.
which translates to his genetics. He was one of the few people at that time that wasn't having sex with angels. So, according to the Bible, our technology was given through angels. This fire through angels. The ability to war was through angels. Witchcraft was given to women through angels, and so forth and so forth. That all these wonderful things through the angels, but it was considered evil as well. And so, Noah being the first, what's those people that don't use electricity? Amish. He's the first Amish. He's the first Amish. He was pure generation. He wasn't fucking angels. And so God was like, okay, you're the only one that I spare. But it wouldn't make sense. I don't believe that God literally killed everyone and they were the only people. Why? Because one of the sons, Ham, ends up seeing his dad naked. This is after the water subsides. He ends up seeing his dad naked, and he has to, he shamed his father, and he has to leave. And he goes out and create the first city ever created, which also goes on to create the Tower of Babel and such. But starting from the very first city, ain't supposed to be no other people on the planet. Now you out here, you don't found a
Yeah,
wife.
we're talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
So who was the daughter who slept with her dad?
That was Abraham and his nephew.
It wasn't the daughter got the two daughters got their dad drunk as shit and slept with them.
Yes, this is right after they escaped from 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 the salt,
Okay,
and stuff.
okay.
Why is the name of the city Sodom and
Sodom and
Gomorrah?
Gomorrah, yeah.
Yeah, I gotta think Sodom. Yeah, there. Sodom and Gomorrah.
Sodomy, yeah. Still to this day, sodomy.
Yeah, and they thought because of fire falling from heaven,
Yeah.
they thought this happened to the entire planet. So they thought all of humanity
It just
was
like
lost.
localized meteor shower.
Yeah, it was just localized. They didn't know it though. So they thought they were the only people on the planet. They thought so. They were like, okay, we got to repopulate.
Yeah.
So they
Okay.
got dad drunk and had sex.
The people all over the planet, like back to like where these people come from, right? Like, well, Cain killed Abel. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
Adam, Eve, Cain, Abel, right? Cain
Mm-hmm.
kills Abel. Cain gets like the you have to go, right? And King goes finds other people, like where the fuck these people come from, right? Like the aliens or
Mhm.
like just random people, right? You know, like
Yeah.
and if you based on like the fossil versus like humans have been like there are a few humans in Africa, but humans
Mhm.
everywhere, right? Like
Mhm.
I don't know, maybe sometimes I think maybe just the Jewish had the best public relations thing back in the day,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, you might ask, why wouldn't God just put something on the planet that's permanent and that would just give us proof that he exists?
And why, like of course I appreciate free will,
Yeah.
but like when I say, hey, the guy like, hey, these are rules, follow
Mhm.
them or die, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
None of this like waiting around, 'cause, like I don't know.
Mhm.
It's just so many questions, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But so I find my answers in the Nag Hammadi text. The Nag Hammadi library um, was found in 1940s in Egypt, in a cave. It was found by a shepherd, and it's the real deal. Some of the manuscripts found are older than our New Testament scripts, and so this is where we find the Apocryphon of John, the Gospel of Thomas, and what is and especially the Gospel of Thomas, all Jesus sayings. And Jesus is talking about us being beings of light. It is speaking about rainbow. It's talking about stuff like the Corpus Hermeticum.
Mhm.
These are Egyptian teachings or whatnot. And so when it comes to the reality of what we are, it was really deep. It was really way deeper because Jesus didn't come and bring a Jewish religion. That's
People forget he was Jewish, right?
Yeah, yeah, he
Like
was
people
Jewish.
forget that, right?
Yeah, he forget.
Like
He
yeah,
forgot.
yeah, and people forget too, like like a lot of people, like in the New Testament, like it says, like there's a part in there that says, like like Jesus didn't get rid of like the clean food laws, right? It was like Saint Paul, right? The angel
Mhm,
went to Saint Paul said, hey, it's not what you put in your mouth, so it comes out your mouth.
mhm,
So a
mhm,
lot of like what we call considered Christianity was actually Saint Paul that did it, right?
mhm. Yeah.
And not
Yes.
Jesus.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Paul, who never met Jesus at all, who also killed.
Once again, some one-on-one sighting, the angel comes to Paul and all the people.
Right, the road to Damascus. Might as well have been in the desert.
Yeah.
But Paul, he just like 2 years prior, he had killed Stephen,
Yeah.
the apostle.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, so off subject. So I was in Italy for 2 years when I was in the military, right?
Mhm,
There's went to a Catholic church in Milan. It's called El Duomo.
mhm.
They have the statue of him there
Really,
with like all the skin taken off.
really.
Like how he was tortured. Because suppose he was
Yeah,
tortured by taking the skin off. The statue's in there, right?
yeah.
It's pretty like pretty awe inspiring, right?
Mm. Paul, or is it Stephen?
Stephen. Yeah, there's a statue, all the skin off. There's a thing that says like he was tortured by taking all the skin off. Yeah, at least
That's
that's
awesome.
how I remember it. I could be wrong, but that's how I
Yeah.
remember it.
That's an awesome statue, though. I want
Yeah. One thing regardless if you're talking about religion, the Roman Catholics have some fucking outstanding churches, right? The
Mhm.
architecture, the beauty of it, right?
Yes. Yes.
Of course, the price they pay to do all that stuff,
Yes.
like the stained glass, like
Mhm.
1300s, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so beautiful, right?
But there's a good reason for that. I feel like the Roman Catholic Church, the Catholic Church specifically, has been privy to certain spiritual understandings
Yeah,
and knowledge that they've hidden from the public.
yeah,
Architecture, are symbols, and symbols do communicate. They
they
do.
do,
They do vibrate. They
they do.
they mean something to us.
Vibration is a real thing.
It really is. It
It's a real
really is.
thing.
And so the architecture of the Catholic Church literally tell a story, and they also convey a whole feeling.
Yeah,
And so, and the reason why you would, like you were saying earlier about winter solstice, Christmas, instead of getting rid of a pagan holiday, we just put our day on top of the
yeah,
pagan. They were The Catholic Church believes and know that magic is real, and they've been making use of it ever since.
yeah.
And that's why for us, so it was for the Jews who practiced Kabbalah for several years. Jesus practiced Kabbalah as well. Spoke to angels. It was a big part of it. 72 angels exist that we are aware of. But then we get to the Catholic Church, they turn the angels into little babies, you know, because these are powerless beings, because they were wanting to use the power and to take away our access to these powers. Now we don't know to call on Gabriel, that is set aside for specific thing,
Yeah.
or any of these other angels that that rabbis, that Jesus himself took advantage. These are power. These are powers. Aleister Crowley, Aleister Crowley, who was considered the most evil man on the planet. I don't believe that. I study his history. And, you know, he was just weird and gay, bisexual. But the literal core of all of his teachings was the Kabbalah, the Jewish Kabbalah. He was more Jewish than most Jews. I gotta do my parking.
It's fine. Can you do it on your phone?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and here's another thing too, right? I have all these conspiracy theories, right? So the devil, we wouldn't call him right. He was like God's like best one, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the devil got jealous, whatever. Something they had a falling out. God sent him to hell, right? To like be tortured, or whatever, right? So now, if you because in the midst of saying you're a bad person, God sends you to hell, and
Mm-hmm.
the devil tortures you.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is like, okay, I'm the devil, I'm the enemy of God. God sends me these people who
Mm-hmm.
doesn't follow God's rules. Why am I going to torture him for? Right? Like you my pizza, right? Like
Yeah.
you my friend, right?
Yeah.
You disagree with God, I disagree with God.
Mm-hmm.
We're all on the same page, right? But this is like this torture thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like of course I'm making that shit up.
Yeah. Yeah.
To me, it doesn't make any sense. Another thing doesn't make sense, you know.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. It really doesn't. And I feel like that's the defining factor of the difference between the God of this age
Mhm.
and the God of all time.
And there's so many things like you know Alec Maslow, right?
No, no.
So he was in the pitch competition. He had the board game.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, so
yeah.
he was on here. I know this. He's talking about and according to like he's like a real like he's talking about the stuff too. And so here's the thing like the Sumerian is like a Sumerian religion, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are people who believe that aliens came and gene spliced primates and made humans, right? The mind stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's all like, man, this is fucking crazy shit, right? So you say aliens came and fucking like genetically spliced apes to make humans, right?
The Bible almost confirms that.
Yeah.
I believe the Bible almost confirms that. Gilgamesh, the Epic of Gilgamesh is written in the Sumerian tablets. We find Gilgamesh in the Bible. We find him in Genesis. His name was Nimrod.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, Nimrod was. They gave him an insult name. Nimrod. That's where we call people Nimrod. Yeah, Nimrod,
Yeah.
kind of thing, right? They insulted him or whatnot. They didn't want to use his real name, but he was considered a might. It called him a mighty hunter before God.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. And Gilgamesh also went on to create the Tower of Babel. He also went to the mountain and supposedly took the head of God. He went to the tree of life in Lebanon, ancient Lebanon, where there are cedar trees that were considered tree of life back then. Really, really, really fucking tall. And he was bold enough to chop down the trees. And so that is a whole epic, but it's all Sumerian, right? And then, but let's go back to the Bible. And we get to Ezekiel, right? Ezekiel, and he was on at the river, and an angel came to him. This particular angel didn't look like other angels, like the six wings, like the cherubim, the seraphims. This angel had four heads: a head of a cow, an eagle, a bull, and a human, right? These are things that look like that's common imagery to us, right? And so you got an alien. If, let's say you had an alien that came here that didn't know about us and what we're familiar with. But they need to communicate with us and they don't want us to be afraid.
Yeah.
You're gonna put together a body and avatar mixed with familiar stuff here, and then present yourself because you don't know who we are yet. You know. So to me, it makes sense that God would. I feel this is a theory I have since I was a young boy that God uses technology to limit the power of angels. But it could just be straight up alien. But it's that's evidence in the Bible of that.
So the Book of Revelations is that the story of the fall of Rome or the story of the last days? I've heard both theories.
That's a really good question. So I believe that he thought he was speaking about Rome because the people at that time thought the Caesar was the Antichrist. His name was Nero, and if you in Roman
Neo being the one of the worst
yeah,
emperors.
and his name actually breaks down in Roman numerals to 666.
Did not know that.
Literally, literally breaks down to 666. And so that's why in Acts chapter 2, Apostle Paul has to rebuke all the saints because they start quitting their jobs. And he was like, go, no, go get a job. you know, but Christ said he's coming back soon. you know,
Yeah, his definition of soon is way different than everyone else's. Yeah.
2,000 years
Yeah.
later.
But isn't I read somewhere like, like in like God time, like it says he created earth in 7 days, actually 6 days or 7 days, whatever it is, 7 days rest. Actually 1 day is like 1,000 years to him, right?
Mhm,
So like actually, even though it's 2,000 years, that's only 2 days to him,
mhm.
something like that,
Yeah,
Where I
that's
heard that, I don't remember, but
that came from the book of Daniel.
okay.
That came from the book of Daniel. A day to him is as 1,000 days,
Yeah.
1,000 days, and backwards, vice versa. But I think that's just. I felt like that was just poetry,
Yeah.
and
And what if like the angel of God and them can time travel, right?
I
What
do.
if time travel was the world thing for them, right? Where we're stuck in time. We haven't. I think we're gonna figure it out eventually. We haven't figured it out yet. Where they can like go back and forth in different time dimensions and stuff.
You're fucking with me. Yes. No. Yes. No. No. Okay. David Grush. okay. Okay. David Grush, the aliens that we just spoke about at the Congress hearing, he said he didn't call these physical beings. He was very specific when he called these interdimensional beings. Interdimensional beings. Okay. Um, if we had, first off, if they're interdimensional beings that are from another dimension, we know that all dimensions are sitting up to on top of each other. Okay. In order to live in one dimension, you have to live in all dimensions. Okay. But we only experience one of them in time. Right. And we're in the third dimension. This is a dimension where time is laid out.
Yeah.
If we go up one dimension higher, time is rolled back up. You don't experience it in the same way. Right. And so this is the playing field of the gods. This is the realm of experience. God himself cannot experience, for he is outside of time, right? The one thing that God doesn't have and cannot have is experience. That's why I'm a big believer that God split himself into little shards and put himself into the realm of experience via us, right? And so I believe we're all little gods. Even Jesus himself said to the Sadducees and Pharisees, he says, doesn't not your scripture say that ye are little gods? You know? And so I feel like these aliens are that yes, they are interdimensional beings that are outside of time, stepping inside of time. So I feel like they are traveling. How else would Elijah in the Bible, right? Go from, he died way a long time ago. Then all of a sudden on the mountain of transfiguration and Jesus, all of a sudden he appears before Jesus, Elijah. If that was really him, I don't know. But there's this time traveling aspect here, fourth dimensional being